Well, if you got Silverstone tickets for this upcoming weekend, just know you can buy in advance because that date is the exact same on the 2024 calendar. Silverstone, I always find absolutely fascinating and iconic. I spoke too soon for Laurence, Nate, when we were on the ESPN post-race show. I said, I assume it's one of your favorite circuits. And he's like, not so much. So I'd ask you, Nate, what you think of Silverstone, and then do drivers tend to agree with Laurence, or is this one of their favorite circuits on the calendar?
Well, it's a difficult one because in terms of getting to Silverstone, even if you live in England, it's an absolute nightmare. It's like there's like two roads basically that can go in and out. Traffic's terrible. I actually like it. I like that, and I think I've been lucky that I've always covered it at a time when Lewis Hamilton, has been at the front end of the grid, and that's made a huge difference. The it's like it would be like in 10 years' time if somebody does a Zandvoort Grand Prix and Max isn't competitive and Max isn't even there. I think it will be a lot different to how it is doing a Zandvoort GP right now. The crowd is always fantastic, and I hate going to races where there's not really much buzz. And Silverstone, there's always a buzz. And I think once you get through all of the nonsense of the traffic and getting into it, it's just a great circuit. I'm a big fan, and I think the fact that drivers tend to like it from what I know. I think that obviously it's got the history of the history element to it. It's the first ever F1 race was held there. First ever World Championship race was held there. So yeah, I think I'm pretty sure they're like it's a driver favorite. I'm not sure if there's any I can think of that don't like it. Maybe any of the guys that haven't won the race might not like it, but I know Lewis does, and I think it's one of those circuits that people kind of they liken it to. Maybe not a karting track in the same way that like the Hungaroring is, but I think it's got a lot of corners that drivers just love going to. This very, very challenging circuit, quick. There's got some. I think it's got some of the most iconic bits of racetrack in the world. So, yeah, I like it, and I'll try and convince Laurence otherwise when we're there at the weekend.
Yeah, please do, because you're bunking with each other over the weekend. Is that correct?
Yeah, not quite bunking, but
separate rooms, but same house
sharing. Yeah. I mean, I'd happily bunk. I've not bunked with anyone for a long time since I was hostling with people.
Lauren's like, let's not talk.
I just said the record straight as well. Like, it's a great circuit. It is a fantastic circuit. It's just some of the things that go along with it. I think it's since they changed the paddock. So, I mean, we're going back a long way now to 2011 was when they changed where the paddock was from its original location to where it is now. And I used to really like the old paddock. I think, it was okay. It had its issues as well, but it just felt like, it felt like the center of the circuit. It felt properly connected to the rest of the circuit. Now you have to get a double-decker London bus to get from the car park.
I love that.
To the paddock. Yeah, well, okay, but it's really frustrating. It disconnects you from everything. So if you're on the paddock and you just want to go and watch trackside, you're looking at a kind of a 20-30 minute ride across, and it's mainly because when they came up with the plans and they had these plans to build a tunnel under the circuit and there was going to be a bridge somewhere else, and essentially at that stage they ran out of money to do those extra little bits, and they never really got round to finishing it off. There is now a bridge that goes across from the paddock to the hotel on the other side, but I'm not sure if we can use it. Last time I checked, we couldn't. So it's just frustrating little things like that. And I think it's also that thing of it's a home race. I've been there so many times that you feel like you can be a bit harsh on it. But the circuit itself is fantastic, and absolutely the drivers love it. A number of corners that they love, but especially Maggots Beckett's Chapel, which is this series of high-speed sweeping corners that go from one to another. And in a Formula One car, they are like almost really nothing else on the calendar. It's a bit like Austin, the S is there at Austin, but this is like the original version, and it is that little bit more impressive. And also, if you watch their trackside, if you can get the bus over from the paddock to go and watch their trackside, or even better, just get a ticket and be there all weekend, seeing the cars change direction through there is sensational, and unlike pretty much anywhere else on the F1 calendar. So yeah, look, it is a great track. It just has a few issues, which when you are going back there for the Xth time, it gets a bit frustrating.
Laurence is jaded, is what he's saying.
Yeah, essentially.
Sounds like it, doesn't it?
I'm just trying to think how many times I've been now, but it's much less than Laurence. I've probably been 6 or 7 times. I totally get those things, but I mean, what I will say about the circuit as well. I mean, last year, when you have a circuit that's packed, when it's a great race, you can really tell it's a great race. And last year was so good. Mm-hmm. And where we are in the media center, you're right opposite, the main grandstand. And just the noise, the whole race, because people were overtaking each other. You had that. It's become a bit of a meme now, where Perez and I think it's Leclerc run wide, and David Croft goes, and through goes Hamilton. At the time, I remember I was like, this is some of the best racing I've ever seen. And I don't think it would have, there's not a lot of circuits where a race that good, in my opinion, would happen. I think Silverstone's just got, a lot of things you'd want. So some good memories. Let's hope they can. I mean, F1 kind of probably needs it to be a repeat this year in terms of just how dramatic. And if Max Verstappen gets something stuck under his car this year, that would also be quite helpful. I don't think there'd be many people other than Max and maybe Christian Horner who wouldn't want to see that.
But as brilliant as Max has been, you guys just sold why you should watch this race, damn it. So well done. I appreciate that very much. I will say there's a song, and I'm not going to sing it here. Rain, rain, go away. It feels like Rain, Rain has been here to stay with all of these races in the past few weeks. And I'm not going to complain about it because it's made for some really interesting moments throughout the entirety of the weekend. Laurence, based on the circuit that you described before us, how does rain impact a weekend at Silverstone?
I think rain makes pretty much any F1 weekend better, but Silverstone especially, and it just seems like part of Silverstone in general. Occasionally we'll get a weekend where it'll be really hot and you have 3 perfect days of sunshine, but we're probably talking 1 in every 6 or 7 British Grand Prix. So there's usually a bit of rain in the air. So I'm looking out the window right now. I'm kind of about 30 minutes away from the track, and it's looking a bit cloudy. There was a bit of rain earlier today. I came up on my motorbike and nearly got caught in it. So it's always there. There's always a potential. And look, if it happens, I think it will only make it more exciting. We've had some really good wet races here. My mind immediately goes back to 2008 and Lewis Hamilton's amazing victory there. Won by miles, but it was quite incredible at the time, and that was in a really competitive season as well. Meanwhile, Felipe Massa, who was his title contender, was spinning around and kind of going through the grass and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I think there's a lot of potential for it to be a great race, because it's already a really really is a driver circuit, one where drivers need to really be very brave and commit, and then when you add water to that as well, then you really see the difference between the very top drivers and the rest of them.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.